All right, so we're just rolling on the back here with the dimension data on the new BMC disc brake bikes for this year, 2019. The BMC sponsor has said, guys, disc brakes only, no rim jobs for you guys. So you won't see any rim jobs on this team. You just see disc jobs. Disc is the win for here. Sponsors say we want to push that, and that's what's going to happen. So this is very, very controversial because this is the first time in history where riders are given a product that's not necessarily going to help them with performance. In fact, in my opinion, having a disc brake bike as a professional cyclist is a disadvantage massively. Now, I'm a fan of disc brake bikes in certain applications. I think they're fantastic. If you live in London or Toronto, where it's like wet, rainy, shitty, cold stuff where your hands don't even work properly, you need that power for braking. They're also great for maybe for noobs who are getting used to, a bit more confidence. So maybe women with small hands, not much strength up there, and so they're fantastic for that. They're fantastic for cyclocross in the mud, for mountain biking. We know disc brakes the only way to go there. But as a professional cyclist, disc brakes would be a disadvantage if you're a professional cyclist for sure. You're going to lose time in sprints, you're going to lose time on climbs, and you're not going to make it up on the descents because pro cyclists, they go so fast anyway. They don't even the reason why pro cyclists are so fast on downhills is because they hardly use their brakes. They hardly use their brakes, and you don't need much braking power on the road. On the dirt, you do. You need to wash off a lot of speed before you're hitting the dirt corners and stuff like that. Very steep, aggressive downhills and mountain biking, so you need more power. Road biking, you don't have those steep descents. You don't need much power on your brakes. Also, these professional cyclists are very skinny, very, very skinny, and so they're lightweight. You don't need as much braking power. So, but the companies are loving it because now it's something new for the consumer to buy. How good are bikes these days? I remember a year ago riding the Tarmac SL6 and going, they can't make it better. So what they have to do now is make it different. So then the consumer brain's like, oh, Peter Sagan's riding a disc brake bike, I've got to have that. But it's just marketing bullshit. For the average consumer, they don't need disc brake bikes. Some people are going to benefit massively, for sure. So if you're a European rider and it's wet and you're going down through the Dolomites in the rain, the disc brakes are going to be good for you. But for me, it's an option. It's not, It is very interesting though, because I see here in Adelaide, Australia, where it's a very dry place. We don't really need disc brakes here for the average guys. And so when I see people pull up in a bunch of disc brakes, I'm like, okay, cool. You're going to be going slower than you would be otherwise. Now, for some riders, that's good because there's a couple guys out there who can beat me and they've got the disc brake bikes. So I'm glad they're on disc brake bikes because the gap's a little bit less than, if they're on a super light rim job, they would go even faster. So for me, secretly, sometimes I enjoy when a disc brake bike turns up in the bunch. That is good for me. But in terms of people out there who are riding rim bikes and they're like, oh, this is not good enough, I've got to have the latest and greatest, then you don't. You're just getting, it's not a con, but it's not a con because disc brake bikes are good in some applications, but it's like, you're getting pushed new product onto it. So it's not always essential there. So it depends what your goal is. If you live in a dry climate, climbing's your thing, sprinting's your thing, don't get disc brakes. If you live in a wet climate where there's a lot of rain, or you commute a lot in traffic and you just need that dependable braking all the time in wet conditions, then disc brakes for sure. If you live in England and stuff like that, for sure. Disc brake advantage is the rims never wear out because the braking surface is on the rotor. The rotors wear out. So that, preserve your rims if you're using expensive carbon rims. But again, I recommend alloy rims for most of it, because they do the job fine. And Marco Pantani, he did fine on alloy rims, and so did Lance Armstrong, and so did Jan Ulrich, and so did Contador, and so did everyone else, smashing out fast times and alloy rims. But it is interesting times we live in. People, you read through the comments in some of these disc videos, some people are just so confused. A big issue for me being a pro cyclist, if I was a pro cyclist, would be the fact that the wheel changes are slower, and if you get a wheel change, it's not guaranteed it's going to fit in your bike. In terms of caliper's going to rub now, So disc brakes are definitely more fiddly, and for the bike shop, that's good because it means more repair jobs, more stuff like that. The rotor's rubbing, got to come back. It's $20-30 an hour. So it's good for bike shops. They can sell more product. They can sell more rotors, which cost, a rotor costs pennies to make, pennies to press out. A rim's a lot more full on, but a rotor, 20, 30, $40. An alloy rim can be 30, 40, $100. So you'll go for a lot of rotors if you're riding a lot, which will be, that's debatable as well in terms of costs and resources and stuff like that. But I guess you can recycle rotors. You can't recycle carbon rims, unfortunately. So there's pros and cons to everything. But if you're talking pure uphill performance, you'll never see Chris Froome using disc brake bikes. It's just, unless everyone's using them, then it'll be even. But as long as rim brakes are still allowed in peloton, that's still a massive advantage for pro cyclists. So pro cyclists who have a choice, some teams there's no choice. If you're on Trek, if you're on Specialized BMC, there's no choice. You have to ride disc. But with other teams, you'll see, the GC riders, Big T or Chris Froome and stuff like that, they will be going Posta Viva. They'll be going the rim job every time. So that's just a bit of facts there. Disc brakes are more prone to rubbing. I mean, I consider myself a half decent mechanic for some things, and I know how to line up disc brakes, and they rub, the lines get hot, the pistons get hot, they swell, the rotor starts pinging, and then 10 minutes later it's not pinging anymore. So it's just luck of the draw. So they're very, very temperamental. They're very high maintenance. Well, they can be, and they can be totally fine. So it depends on what you get, which batch you get. Unlike a rim brake, which is very, very a Shimano rim brake is very, very easy to maintain, adjust, and service, etc. It's very easy to see spot issues with that. It's fantastic. And you can open up the brake calipers before the start of the climb, then close them over the top. So, Contador style. Contador would always do that. Open up his brakes at the bottom and over the top, close them off again. So that's why he stuck with the 9,000 calipers instead of the 9100. So anyway, that is the truth there with disc brakes, pros and cons. Why rim brakes will die off because the industry's pushing it so hard, and the consumer, people just want to buy new shit. People want to buy new shit. Take my money. That's consumerism, and that's good and bad. I'm glad people are on bikes. I'm glad people are excited for cycling. I'm all for that. But me, I'm always going to give you my, non-sponsored, 100% truth, honest opinion in my videos. That's what people count on me for. And if you ask any professional cyclist, if they've been totally fucking honest with you, they'll say, nah, disc brakes, no go. But they can't say that because, they said that to me, and I'm not going to name any names because people, they confide in me. And if they know that I'm going to be saying it on social media, then they're not going to tell me any more stuff. So I can guarantee you though that all the pros I've spoken with, none of them love the disc brake bikes. None of them love it. And the ones who said, "Oh, it's all right," you can tell them, they're just saying that because they're worried I might say something on social media or whatever. But I'm not going to do that because people tell me stuff in privacy. Then I respect that confidence there. That I won't say nothing, or I won't name names, I should say. This is the disc brake omerta. The disc brake omerta is the new omerta in professional cycling. But yeah, the mechanics don't like them, the riders don't like them, but the manufacturers like it because it's something new for people to buy. And you turn up to the bunch ride, you got your SL6 tarmac rim job ultralight, and your buddy does a one-upmanship on you, and he's got the disc brake model. Extra $500. He's got a disc brake model. So now in the bunch, that's like, oh man, he's got disc, he's got the latest, he's got cigars, and so then it creates that one-upmanship, which cycling is full of, and that's what drives the industry. I got the disc, and it's just going to go on more and more. So rim brake bikes will die off. We already see it with Trek, killing off the SLR rim brake bike. It's not getting the same love it deserves. It's a direct mount brake bike, which is incredible. Direct mount brakes are fantastic. But again, not many people, it's not as sexy as a disc brake bike, is it? The term disc brake. It's like carbon. You remember when carbon first came in the industry, no one wanted to touch it, and now it's like, if it's not carbon, it's like, what? Got to have carbon. The first step to being a pretentious roadie poser is getting a carbon bike, be it an S-Works or a Canyon. So anyway, that's Orsavello. That's the deal there. Disc brakes are here to stay. That's good and bad. It's bad for pro cycling. It's good for some consumers. It's good that people out there in England and some cold, shitty countries can have better braking performance. Bike messengers. If I was a bike messenger again, I'd definitely want disc brake bikes. And just have more power in the wet. Makes sense. Because you need it. You don't need it in Pro Peloton. You're not grabbing your brakes in the Pro Peloton. If you're grabbing your brakes in the Pro Peloton, you're probably about to crash anyway. So pros hardly ever touch their brakes. They hardly ever touch their brakes. That's just the deal. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're a fan of disc brakes, or if you're a fan of the industry pushing stuff on consumer that doesn't really need, leave a comment down below. Share your thoughts, comments, and opinions. Better yet, go out there for any disc non-believers or disc believers, the flat earthers. Go out there and ride the latest model. I have the Giant Defy top-end disc, and I have the Giant Defy top-end rim job. And the rim job bike is just a different beast. You go and ride a disc brake bike and the rim brake equivalent, and you'll see what I mean.